Will President Trump meet with Democrats to try to bring this shutdown to a close and get federal workers their paychecks back again, Mr. Secretary?
Well, Chris, I'm going to have to reject the premise of your question. Why did President Trump have to meet with Democrats? Democrats just need to go into the Senate and vote to end the shutdown.
Well, there you go. Very simple. Scott Bessent versus Kristen Welker on Meet the Depressed. You don't have to do anything but just go in and cast a vote, Mr. Democrat Senator, and this is over. The president has nothing to do with this. Welcome into Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler, along with Heather Overstreet, who is in for the first time as a guest co-host today for Stephanie Bell, who's out on assignment. John Marsh alongside, and Drake Whitman and Heather. People are going to get to know you throughout the program. People know you, I think, in mid-Missouri from your TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, but welcome into the program.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So you have your camo on today. We'll have to see how the hunt went over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah? No?
Yeah. Well, I like rifle season.
Yeah? Okay. You hunt with an AR-15?
Oh, yeah. Or a SCAR, something like that.
It's a nice gun. And I don't even know whether I want to bring up the Mizzou fail on Saturday. 4th and 2, defense playing well. Kick the field goal, get some momentum. But no, we go for the touchdown. We lose the momentum.
You don't know ball.
Well, how did it work out for you, Drake? How'd that work out for you?
You know what we did? We did a really cool play. And actually, if you watch our entire season, you'll see that there's a trend. Yep. We run our QB up the middle, and they get injured. Season-ending injury.
Yeah, right.
So, I mean,
But the bright side, there was a real silver lining in that cloud. I thought Matt Zollers just came out and played like a stud. The guy was great. Played poised, laid a couple of nice passes in there. I was impressed with the guy. True freshman.
I was too, honestly.
Yeah.
If there is a silver lining,
yeah.
I mean,
Matt
Zollers is our future. So.
Yeah. John, your analysis, your post-mortem on that tough loss?
The toughest loss was Bo Pribula, and now he's questionable till further notice. We don't have that many games left. Yeah. So that was the biggest shocker. It was no fun getting beat, but it's worse to lose your star quarterback.
Yeah. And here we are in the 4th week of the shutdown, Heather. Is it going to go on longer than the record, which is at 35 days? Here we are, it's day 27.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it would last a while just because the left is, kind of crazy. So I'm not surprised.
At what point, though, with SNAP benefits running out on November 1st, we see TSA and, especially the air traffic controllers getting very grumbly. They're working and not getting paid. A lot of them are not. I mean, they're not paid super well. A lot of folks are, in all professions these days, are living sort of paycheck to paycheck, and if you're not getting a paycheck and you're working, that's like rubbing Morton's salt in the wound.
Yeah, I mean, I would be upset, too. I really don't know what they're going to do. They're probably just going to quit, right?
Well, but when they do, that's what really ended. I think that's what led to the end of the last shutdown, 1819. Finally, air traffic was slowed down, and people said, this is getting to be too much. And I forget what. Well, ultimately, that was about the Republicans at that time in a mix. It was the Congress was split, Democrat and Republican, and the Republicans were holding out because they wanted funding for the border wall, and the Democrats wouldn't give it to them. And so, in a way, it's sort of been flipped. Although the Democrats didn't have a clean CR. The Republicans have voted for a clean CR now, and the Democrats just refuse. They're trying to do, by holding air traffic controllers and military folks. My son-in-law is one. My daughter homeschooling. They're military on one paycheck. How many people are doing that around that are listening to this program or have someone in their family that is? And at some point, it gets so painful that someone's got to blink. Who's going to blink first, Heather?
Yeah, I just hope they blame each other, but, you can't make a deal without two people, so.
Should the president get involved?
I don't know that there's anything he can do,
Well, I'm afraid if he gets involved, there'll be a deal. There is no deal here. The Democrats need to come to the table and realize they're the ones that set the sunset on these subsidies in a system of health care that they admit is broken. They're the ones, when they passed Obamacare extension of subsidies, they made them sunset at the end of this year. And so that was their fault. And now they don't want to live and sleep in the bed they made.
Right, I agree. I mean, I think the left doesn't have very good policies in general, and I definitely think that the Democrats are at fault, but the bottom line is you still need them. So I just think a deal is better than a shutdown, at least, and I just wish that they would even negotiate, because the problem is they aren't even willing to talk. They're not willing to meet. They're not willing to negotiate whatsoever. So it's just nothing, just completely shut down.
In other news, a very good thing happened in Malaysia the other day. I know you follow that closely, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Along with, well, I know you follow the political scene. We saw you talk at the chili supper last Tuesday, and you follow the political scene. We're going to get into some Colombia politics because and happenings with Mayor Buffalo and others. But John, did you see this in Malaysia? They're sitting around getting ready for some kind of a summit to start, and they're all sitting around the table. The Malaysian, after Trump gets off the plane, and the Malaysian dancers were dancing, and he's like doing his little thing. He's trying to dance with them. I thought it was fantastic. He's being torched on the left, like, oh, this is so unpresidential. I thought it was great. You? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's great too. He can't win if he shows a little bit that he's funny and that he's just a person. He can't win, and then he can't win if he's professional. So it's just whatever.
I think these days, professional, especially in this world of social media, you know that. You're all over social media. Yeah. You got to be entertaining as well as informative. You can't just sit there and be blah, 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 same old 1950s starched white shirt, thing. Starched white shirt. Yeah. I guess I shouldn't talk about that. Here is the Malaysian National Orchestra as they open this summit. I thought it was great. Now, Heather, you may not know this. Do you know this series? Did you watch these movies?
You're making me feel like really young right now.
I thought it was great. They're playing the theme from Rocky.
Yeah, I mean, the song's cool, but I'd be lying if I told you I know what it's from.
Now, look, Drake's going, whoa. Drake just does a little what's wrong emoji. What the heck?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Rocky.
Well, part of the problem, too, is I don't watch TV, so it's just...
You don't watch TV?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Too busy with your business.
Yeah, and making goofy TikToks, apparently. So.
Yeah. And practicing with your AR-15.
Yeah, I got in trouble for that on Facebook, but yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had to take the post down yesterday.
Why?
Well, because, okay, so I'm monetized on Facebook.
Yeah.
And they said that these 2 posts violated community guidelines and they're going to limit my distribution. And they said, you better delete it, basically.
Ouch.
So, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, Second Amendment?
So you got disciplined for using your Second Amendment rights to shoot an AR-15. You didn't shoot it at anyone.
At a Target.
And the target didn't have like some politician's profile on it, right? I mean, no, I could imagine there are circumstances where I could say, okay, if I'm Facebook, that's, sorry, giving you the hook.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just a normal
Just
girl.
because you're shooting an AR-15 at a target, they said that violated community standards.
Yeah, so we were target practicing with rifles at the range, so they wanted me to take that video down. As a matter of fact, they wanted me to delete it. And then there was a photo of me holding my AK-47 safely, I'm very into gun safety, so I was just holding it, posing with it normally in the woods. And they said that those 2 posts violated community guidelines, and they suggested that I deleted them to be in good standing, is what they called it.
How do you go about getting an AR? Isn't there some problem with having an AK-47? That's a fully automatic rifle.
Oh, well,
You can, one's happened. Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, well. All right, so... Anyway, we had a president in Asia. Now he's in Japan, and he's going to try to work out something. First of all, try to get, I think, Ford F-150s imported into Japan. But more importantly, on this Eastern Asian trip, he's going to talk with President Xi in China. And we're hearing that the 100% tariffs that he was going to impose on China, because they were going to prevent us from getting the rare earth minerals and the critical minerals. They're going to put a total almost ban on it, on exports, which could temporarily cripple our defense industry, our technology industry, because you need those minerals to make the stuff work, for the hardware, while we get our infrastructure to build up. They're doing that out in the West. We talked with Kurt Schaefer from the Department of Natural Resources. Missouri actually has some of those minerals, not all. But could you imagine a life without technology, Heather? What would happen
My
to you?
25-year-old self? No.
All right. And later on, we're going to talk with Scott Vaughn at 7 o'clock, 7:08. Scott Vaughn about what's going on in Missouri. And particularly now, we're keeping an eye, and Scott, I know, is keeping an eye on how the shutdown is affecting Missourians. We hear that 650,000 people on SNAP, the food stamps in the form of a debit card, won't be getting their cards loaded on November 1st. That now is not going to happen, I understand, no matter what. I don't think there'd be time, apparently. And then, and also, people are going to get an increase. Some 20 million people in America are going to get an increase in their premiums if they're on Obamacare policies. There's a better way forward. I posted on my personal Facebook account yesterday, but there's a better way forward. They just won't listen. Maybe they'll listen in. Maybe the press will tune in today. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Randy. There's Heather in for Stephanie, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman. We are Wake Up Missouri. Stay in tune with us on our own YouTube channel and by text, 573-874-9390. Be in touch. Daily DC Rundown coming up.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
years and years and years. But they were like anybody else. A lot of countries took advantage of the U.S. They're not taking advantage anymore. No, China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal.
President Donald Trump. Here's John Marsh with the Daily DC Rundown.
President Trump telling reporters on Air Force One he expects to reach a trade agreement with China in the coming days. Officials from the world's two largest economies said Sunday they'd reached an initial consensus with Trump and Chinese leader Xi to try to finalize during their high-stakes meeting. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent said service members will miss paychecks by November 15th if the government shutdown stretches on. That's despite administration assurances that members of the military will be paid amid the funding lapse. And House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries sparred with CBS's Margaret Brennan on Sunday over his complaints that the president will rig the midterms. On Face the Nation, Brennan pressed a New York congressman about his past comments, insisting there were no election deniers in the Democrat Party, despite recently suggesting the upcoming midterms could be rigged. So stay tuned on that one.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I think it's good to see these leftist so-called journalists get in the face, finally, of the Democrats. Here's a little bit of that back and forth.
You said Democrats, there are no election deniers on our side of the aisle. You said that back in January. But recently, you've been using the term rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters? You need to show up.
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional maps in a partisan fashion all across the country.
Sombrero Jeffries, talk about the pot calling the kettle black. I mean, come on, the kings of gerrymandering, no matter whether it's during, after a census or not, they're the kings of gerrymandering. They all do it. And, I mean, come on, Hakeem, we're on to your game now. Heather Overstreet in for Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, Drake Whitman. I'm Randy Tobler. Heather, what do you think about this gerrymandering? You okay with it or not?
Well, my first response to that is he does have a funny voice. He sounds funny. That's my first impression. He sounds funny. Yep.
I call him Sombrero. I just love those memes. It's great. You know, do you have some of that sound? Don't you have that, Drake?
The Mexican music?
Yeah, I think we got to do that. Now
I can find some.
Every time we play, let's do that. Let's play a little bit of that just to add context to this. I think it'd be very good if you can.
You said Democrats, there are no rigged elections in reference to the upcoming midterms. Democrats were appalled when President Trump used language like that. How do you justify using that now? Doesn't that undermine faith for voters? You need to show up.
No, I've been using that term in the context of Donald Trump's unprecedented effort to gerrymander congressional.
He is like an AI chatbot. You know, I mean, this guy is he keeps arguing these points that are indefensible, I think. That's not a rigged election. That's gerrymandering along political lines.
Yeah, I mean, I think he'd be better off if they just admit that they're losing. But, you know, I don't know if this is true or not, but I think I saw a report the other day where the Democrats were saying, take the sombrero down, because they put it on, like Trump posted it on his official account, the sombrero thing, and the Democrats were like, you need to take that down. And J.D. Vance said, we'll take it down if you open the government back up.
No, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, we played that. Yeah, he says, I make this solemn pledge to Hakeem Jeffries that if you open the government up, we will take down no more sombrero memes. Yeah. They are they're playing the Democrats' outrage like a fiddle. I mean, it's just hilarious. The more outraged the Democrats get, the more lighthearted Trump, like you saw him in the F-15 bomber, or the F-15 fighter jet where he's dumping excrement on the No Kings release.
That was great.
When we come back, can the best boy at a wedding be a golden retriever? Heather will answer that question when we come back on Wake Up Missouri. Stay tuned. Missouri, we talked with Senator Cindy O'Loughlin at 8:08, and we talked to Scott Vaughn at 7:08. Man, I'd sure like to know what Eli Drinkwitz was thinking on that 4th and 2 call. I'm just still wondering. Jake just threw off his headphones. If you're watching on our YouTube channel, our Facebook.
You are ridiculous, Randy.
Not
you really
ridiculous.
are. You're ridiculous. Do you really think Eli Drinkwitz is doing play calling? Actually, he stopped doing play calling in 2022, and he became only the head coach in 2023. And, we had a 11-2, 10-3, and now we're here with only 2 losses. So I'd say we need to get a new offensive coordinator.
No, I like Eli Drinkwitz, but I don't know. I guess that was one of those make or break moments. If you make it, you're a hero. If you don't, you're wearing the collar. But he decides whether they're going for the touchdown or for the field goal, right? And then
because he has balls. He's a football guy. He's just the manliest man. He's going for it on 4th down because he wants to win. He doesn't want to settle for a field goal.
What was the final score?
He doesn't want to settle for it.
What was the final score?
Hey, we lost by 1 yard. 1 yard.
What was the final score?
We lost by 1 yard.
That's Drake Whitman. I'm Randy Tobler. Heather Overstreet in for Stephanie Bell and John Marsh. John Marsh, would you have gone for the touchdown or the field goal if you were leading the team?
Field goal.
Yep, me too.
And you always talk about how my generation, we don't have men. And then I look back at you guys taking the 3 points. Just come on.
Your generation is expectedly a little more reckless. I would agree.
Reckless, yeah.
It might just be a Drake problem at this point.
I think it's a Drake problem.
And then you want to make the argument that we'd lost 17-13 instead of 17-10. So
I know, but no, I actually think at that point in the ball game, it was tied. It was a defensive game. Our defense was playing tight. I think any points would have given us a little momentum in a hostile stadium. Any momentum's better than no momentum, and you lose your quarterback for the season with a dislocated ankle. Now, Paul is saying that after the game, he had questions about the character of Vanderbilt's team, alleging that football players know what kind of plays cause people to get hurt, and that the O-lineman had Prebula's foot anchored solid, while the other players torqued his body in a dangerous direction. And the Vanderbilt coach did throw out more potty mouth invectives than I have seen in a long, long time. You could read his lips. I mean, that guy was, and even when the call was clearly not in his favor and clearly the right call, he was still F-bombing and this is BS and everything else. That wasn't becoming of the coach.
I wouldn't know.
Wouldn't you agree, Drake?
No. I mean, it's football. He might have been yelling at a player. He might have been yelling at who caused the penalty.
Yeah, but if I'm the ref and I've made a really objectively perfect call, and you're back there, you're back there denigrating.
What refs would those be?
I don't know, but I just think I would take that. I would take offense at that because we're truth tellers here on Wake Up Missouri. It's about the truth. It's about the truth. So if you lose fair and square because of a fair and square, well-made call, you lose fair and square.
Yeah, take the L, right?
Yeah, there you go. Lost by 7, so your field goal didn't matter. No, John. It's about momentum. It's about momentum. We would have had the lead. The defense would have been pumped.
And then
they wouldn't have allowed that long 70-yard run. I'm telling you, momentum matters. All right. Randy says, I would have went for the field goal. I blame the failure on the offensive coordinator more than Eli. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Did you miss the doink on the field goal? Going for it was the right call. Yeah. Not only did they not go for that, and then when they had the field goal try two drives later, he doinked the field goal. Maybe Drake needs to suit up and become the field goal kicker.
I was thinking that, but I didn't want to say it.
I'm a quarterback at heart.
Tracy says you never pass up an opportunity to put points on the board. There you go. I'm counting the text here, Drake. Randy's right.
Looks that way.
Well, at least on the upside, though, even with Bo injured, at least we've got a bye week to let him heal.
Well, that's true. That's true. Okay. All right. Well, at any rate, hey, Heather, you pointed me to this story because I know you're a dog lover. In fact, you have a dog-loving business, yeah?
Yes.
But I thought this was interesting that there was a couple that had at their wedding, the dog was the best man, the best boy, the best dog.
Yeah, did it say he was a witness or is he the best man? Or is it both?
The best boy. What does that mean? Golden Retriever.
Yeah.
He served as a witness and the best boy at a wedding in New York.
Yeah.
Wally, the four-year-old pooch.
I mean, yeah, he's the witness, you know? I mean, he did see it.
And did you see that the couple, the blissfully married couple, the newlyweds, are holding his paw on the witness thing? I guess the best man does have to sign some kind of a document or something, huh?
Yes.
Are you bothered that the best man has to do that, not like the bridesmaid?
I never gave it one thought.
No?
No. Like, it's just a person. A person's a person. Someone's got to do it.
Well, now that we're in an equality society, we're women, men are the same, all absolutely equal, no difference.
Well, if that's the case, if you're so worried about it, just change your pronouns for the witness thing and then go back.
Yeah. Do you do what is your we got to discuss this. What is when you are doing business with someone, because you're in business, right? You run a dog training, boarding, grooming business, yeah?
Yes. Top Dog USA.
Yeah?
It's boarding and daycare.
Okay.
Primarily.
Boarding, daycare.
Yeah.
So if you're doing business with, a vendor and you have to buy supplies or whatever, and you see on the signature line, his, her, they, the, does that influence your decisions on whether to do business or look for alternatives?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had so many, it's usually females, no offense. They email me and they're like, you should join this, this, and this for women. And at the bottom it says she, her. I'm like, if you're asking me to do something for women and then you have to put your pronouns in there, I don't think this is going to work out.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
But some places, if you're getting a paycheck in some businesses, that's an expectation. You have to put that on there. So I always struggle with that. Like, do I hold that against that person? Because they can't help it? Is that really their? I do judge. I'm a little judgmental about that. I do not appreciate the pronoun thing. If people voluntarily are putting pronouns on their signature, I just don't dig it. I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
No.
Especially they. It's grammatically incorrect. How can I look at you, Heather Overstreet, and say, let's say that you had they as your signature, right?
Right.
It's illogical. You're not two people. You're one person, so you can't be they. You're either one or the other.
Yeah, but you didn't ask, Randy.
And I'm not going to. I don't know. And then there's Xi, right? What is Xi? What is that, the Chinese president?
Those are called neo-pronouns. You need to educate yourself.
Neo-pronouns.
Yes.
I don't bother myself with such blather. No bother with the blather.
Yep.
Nope. There's substantive things in the world to worry about. And that's not one of them.
I agree.
But I think it does tell you about something. Tanya Heath, who won an award won a well-earned recognition at last Tuesday night's Boone County Republicans and Pachyderm's dinner. I wasn't sure. Pachyderm's was on the main banner. I don't know who was the official sponsor, but there's a lot. Those Venn diagrams, in the words of Kamala Harris, really overlap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she says that she and her hubby, David, had their dachshund as their ring bearer. Wow. Holy cow.
Ring bearer?
Yeah, ring bearer.
I feel like it should be like
a
dog.
I wonder if dachshunds are so short wheelbase. I wonder that must have taken forever to get down the mile.
Oh, they probably strapped a little pillow to its back.
Yeah, isn't that cute?
Yeah, I can see it now.
Lynn says Zollers looked better, and why aren't we using this JUCO kid we picked up as a kicker? Kicked a 60-yarder on X yesterday in the indoor facility. Why do we stay with the people who aren't getting the job done? Texas A&M will slaughter us. Ooh, Lynn's having no mercy on the Tigers today. Holy cow. Yes, Philip, that is Heather Overstreet on this morning. Philip asks. It is.
Hi, Philip.
Yeah. What's your you don't do Twitter?
I have it. I just don't post very much on it. I don't really like the way the app is set up.
I see.
I'll try.
How about TikTok?
Yeah, I'm on mostly TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook.
Are you worried about TikTok, about like the whole issue about the Chinese Communist Party, getting into your data and people you know's data? And if you know someone in the defense industry, they'll find the nuclear code because they're on Heather Overstreet's TikTok?
Well,
Maybe someone at Whiteman Air Force Base?
Right. I'm not worried about it, no. I will say Trump is batting for TikTok. He's been really trying to make TikTok safe for Americans, and so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah. Tara says the 70-yard run was allowed because of a massive hold. So frustrating. Was there a bad call on that? Was there a missed call on that 70-yard run?
Nah, there's always holding in every play. So I mean, it's just
holding in. You're right, Drake. Holding in football is a lot like fouling in basketball. One guy roughs at one point. You rough up someone, and it's almost like a rugby scrum, and nothing's called. And another thing, you touch the person on the elbow, and it's like, a penalty.
Well, the reason they do that is because they're not going to. Every play has holding, and if you do a run to the right and there's a guy on the left that means nothing to the play, and you're holding him, I mean, it doesn't have any effect on the play, so they let it go.
I see.
So it just, if it like interferes with the play itself, like if you didn't hold, would he have gone and?
You know what I think they ought to do? I was thinking about this the other day because I agree with you. I think they called against Vanderbilt a hold off the play. The announcers said it had nothing to do with where the action was on the play, and they called it back defensive, I think, holding or pass interference or something. Or maybe. What if they had, I think blockers should have, like the little mufflers that you wear. Heather, when you're a kid, we used to put our kids in that, the little kids, when it's Christmas time. Both your arms go in a little cylinder that's like a fleece cylinder, and you know what I mean?
Oh.
You know what I mean?
I don't know.
It puts, you know what I'm talking about, John?
Like a muff.
Yeah,
Don't
like
they
a
call
muff.
that a muff?
Put one of those. And I think the down linemen ought to have that so that they can only block that way. They can't, their hands are locked up.
So like what the ice skaters wear when they're
put their
exactly. Hands in there
that would be fair.
Skating.
That way you're blocking with your shoulders, your body. I think that would be. I like that.
Why not? Let's give it a go.
That way it would eliminate the whole issue about holding.
Are we going to do that for the defensive linemen as well?
Yeah. No, both sides.
I think that's a terrible idea.
Yeah. Sort
Make
of
it a little tough to tackle if you've got your hands inside.
Good point. Good point, darn it. Well, maybe you have to wear the muff for 5 seconds. Then you throw it off and tackle.
And then you tackle, right? Okay.
It's like the Black Knight in Monty Python. It's just a flesh wound. All right. Well, it's a Monday morning. You can tell that, it's a little bit crazy around here on Wake Up Missouri. I think when we come back, we're going to talk about Charlie Kirk being right, falling in love, getting married, having kids, except there's a twist. The earlier, the better, especially if you're a guy. And I'll explain on Make Missouri Healthy Again.
It's Wake Up Missouri.
Funny sometimes when we're getting ready for prep for the show. We spend a lot of time prepping for the show, and so all weekend I'm thinking about what can we talk about. And then yesterday, my son-in-law bags a buck with his bow. I was proud of him, and we're helping him gut it and drag it out of the woods. And I realized, here's my son-in-law. They're both in there. Both son-in-laws were up at the farm, and we were working on the deer thing, and they're in their mid to late 30s. And I realized I'm just not as strong as I used to be. These young bucks were like lifting that buck up like with one, no problem. And
funny
I'm like,
how that works.
Oh, yeah,
isn't it?
okay. So you realize that things change as you age. I mean, you try to fight the inevitable, onslaught of age, but I do okay. I got on our body composition machine we have at the office, and I did okay. Scored pretty good, actually, for a guy,
That's great.
I don't know if I'd score as good as Drake, but I scored pretty good.
I think you'd score better than Drake.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take much. So, well, I mean, the guy eats frosted donuts and Pop-Tarts. I mean, what else do you eat, Drake?
Hey, look, I'll go to your do your little machine thing, and we'll see.
Come on over. Come on over. I'll give you a complimentary body composition analysis.
He is 7 feet tall. You got to give him that. Right?
That's true. I love Drake. So, while whiskey and real estate portfolios and emotional intelligence tend to improve with age, sperm does not. Researchers in Nature have found that using a high accuracy technique looking for mutations in sperm, found that mutations accumulate with age. And the mutations that contribute to bad things, developmental problems, including autism and other things, they actually get favored as that progression goes on. So it sort of becomes a negative synergism, if you will. And I got to thinking about our discussion about RFK and the discussion about autism, and it's all Tylenol, well, acetaminophen's fault. The team identified, this is in Nature, which is a pretty esteemed journal, more than 40 genes that cause sperm stem cells. So think of the stem cell as basically the roots of a perennial plant that are just constantly, giving rise to what you see above the ground. Okay, so you've got these stem cells that then the sperm cells mature out of. So these stem cells had 40 genes that can cause stem cells to mutate, a genetic phenomenon known as selfish sperm. And they measured the proportion of these sperm carrying disease-causing mutations. In the early 30s, about 2% carried disease-causing mutations. Middle age and older raises to 5%, 4 or 5%, so almost double. Now, you may say that's not a whole lot, but think about it. And remember when we were talking about acetaminophen and how I'm really concerned that a lot of women are probably being told now, sorry, deal with your back pain. You got back pain because you're pregnant? Oh, sorry. Now, no doubt chiropractic and physical therapy and maybe acupuncture and some other stuff may or may not help. I think they can help. But a lot of times Tylenol and acetaminophen is a great thing. The rate of these accumulations of these mutations was found to be almost 2 mutations per year of age. And so age 43 seems to be when a dude truly starts to sour. And when we were looking at the data, I looked at the data around autism and the causes of it and the search for that because it's a big problem. It turns out that paternal age actually seems to be a bigger deal, although both maternal and paternal age matter, not only when it comes to autism, but other developmental and mutational and anatomic things. But so this is something to note. So I think Charlie Kirk was right with a caveat. Fall in love, get married, have children, but do it earlier. lecture people and saying, pull yourself up by your bootstraps, get a ride share, get a job, cut down on your expenditures. I made it, and so can you. Welcome into Wake Up Missouri. I'm Randy Tobler, along with Heather Overstreet, in for Stephanie Bell this morning, John Marsh and Drake Whitman, and joining us, as he always does on Mondays, Scott Fawn. Scott, 650,000 people will be affected in Missouri. Is Missouri doing anything to help provide a substitute safety net?
I guess I would ask you, what could they do?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing about an unreliable partner like the federal government is you can't plan on them. I mean, it is true Missouri could have took billions of dollars away from education, or, well, you're getting close. That's the only thing they have billions of dollars spent on, and put it aside for federal government incompetence. But, they're only incompetent, well, about every year. I guess it is. They are getting reliably incompetent. But I think that's the problem. When you partner with such an unreliable place like the federal government, you're going to have these problems. There's nothing they really could do.
And, I think there's other things that are going to probably bring people knocking at their legislators, maybe the governor's door. You never know. As far as federal employees who aren't getting paid. I think it's going to probably return a lot of questions, not that they have answers, but a lot of questions for state legislators and leaders. No?
Well, I think everybody, there's not a lot of folks that really discern the difference between what's a federal and state government program. And so, when I worked in a legislative office, 90% of my calls were about things we had to forward on to our member of Congress because they were federal issues. There'll be a lot of questions, but at the end of the day, I think folks just have to realize if you're relying on the federal government, that is not a good strategy for your life. They are not reliable.
Yeah.
They are not competent. It doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in the majorities. These shutdowns are things you'd hear about Cuba or Costa Rica or Uganda or something, New York City, right? This is the type of thing incompetent, failed states do. They need to pull it together.
Yeah. Well, look what's going on in Venezuela. They sit on the richest oil fields in the planet practically, and because of, corruption and tyranny there, they can't get their act together. Scott, but I guess on a very human note, you've been touring around the state and visiting outstate facilities and communities and getting your finger on the pulse of the people. What about rural health care? I mean, that is a big deal. And it is at least partially, I can tell you, having run a small hospital in rural Missouri, 60 to 75%, depending on the place. It depends on federal funding. And those places are hurting.
Well, this has been a strategy since the Industrial Revolution to force people off the farms, force people out of small towns and into big cities. It really went on steroids in the late 60s. And every innovation that this world has seen since the Industrial Revolution has been something to force people into cities. The great part is good times are coming. I don't know if help is on the way. I don't know if it's help in time. When you have rural broadband, it opens up the ability to, if you want to live in a place like Hallsville, Russellville, Eldon, you can have a good job. You can be reasonably close to an airport. You need to get somewhere outside your area. Rural broadband is opening up a lot of opportunities for people to choose to live that rural lifestyle they were able to grow up with. However, I don't know if it's too late. Policies like healthcare have done nothing but try to close rural hospitals. It is the unspoken goal. Todd Richardson with our Medicaid here was able to hold that back a little.
Yeah.
But no, it is the goal of the government, whether they'll say it out loud or not, to close rural healthcare clinics and really close rural America. Now, innovation has kind of turned the corner to help us. I don't know if it'll help us in time. I mean, you ran that hospital.
Yeah.
These policies are written to keep you on subsistence level.
That's
and
right.
basically slowly manage you to close.
Yeah.
Or to some clinic where you can get a flu shot, right?
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think it sort of parallels what I think liberal progressive policies have done to folks that remain dependent, generationally dependent. And the rural hospitals are really existentially dependent on Big Brother feeding them. And they make the rules.
There's no question.
Yeah.
But when we talk about schools, it's usually not the school that died, it's the community that died.
Yeah.
And government policy has been choking off rural Missouri for a long time.
Yeah. No doubt about it. That's Scott Fawn. He's publisher of Missouri Times, host of This Week in Missouri Politics. He joins me, Randy Tobler, along with Heather Overstreet, in for Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman.
Yeah, Scott, I had a question for you. I own a small business, a lot of us own a small business, and I have just been trying to find somebody that can simplify in plain English for a lot of us who aren't so invested in this Missouri IP issue. Because from my understanding, the Missouri IP is messed up and it's responsible for these minimum wage issues and all that kind of stuff. Is there a way you could simplify the Missouri IP for us, small business owners who are struggling to understand what's going on?
You bet. If you're a business owner that cares about social issues, as there's a lot are, this is where the social issues will be fought, whether it's trans stuff, abortion stuff. But to those of us who have to worry about making payroll before we can worry about social issues, the IP reform is where forced paid medical leave comes in. It's where forced minimum wage hikes come in. It is a group of people on the East Coast that think they know how to run your business better than you do, that are very happy if you go out of business. Everybody's works for one of these corporations that they can manipulate into being woke, and they can force into having policies that they can afford, because on the publicly traded company stock market, they'll finance all that goofiness. You and I that own small businesses, nobody's there to help us. There is no bailout coming for Top Dog or for the Missouri Times. Again, these policies are written by people who are beholden to very rich people who don't give a damn about you or me, and they're more than happy to have their rich liberal friends come in and force you how to run your company that will ultimately, because they've never ran a company, run it straight in the ground.
That's great. I have another question. What can us as business owners and citizens do about this? I mean, what would your advice be?
Number one, I'd call Kara Corches at the Missouri Chamber today and join. She is walking the halls. She's driving this state every day. When I do get to run into her somewhere, we compare the last 5 places we've been. We try to do a mileage off. Kara is fighting for you. Then we're all going to have to dig in our wallets. That's just the truth. These billionaire progressive folks have no problem coming into this state, forcing things on the ballot. We're going to have. What happens is Kara runs up to the legislature. You got to change this, and they'll change it at great cost, and it'll be a big deal. They'll end up changing it back, and they'll put this back on the ballot. And what happens 90% of the time is we business people who have our hands in the air screaming to the legislature, we stick our hands right in our pockets. Like we all have that cheap friend when the bill comes, right? He's either in the bathroom or his hands are stuck somewhere in those pockets. Those alligator arms comes out. Yeah. We have alligator arms sometimes on these ballot measures, and we're going to have to bite the bullet and write some checks. And that includes business like Top Dog and the Missouri Times. If you want, unfortunately, because of this faulty IP process, if you want to actually run your business and not let somebody on the East Coast run it, you got to dig into your wallet. And that's just the brass tacks truth. The organizing and passing out flyers and putting stuff on Facebook is all fine. But if you want to win, you got to dig in your pocket and write a check.
Money matters. Money matters.
It does.
Scott, we're only about a month away from bill filing for the 2026 session at the State House. And we've seen so much talk and jockeying of position over IP and the governor and public safety. What about for folks out there? What should they expect to see at the Capitol in terms of tax credits and tax breaks this time around?
Man, John, cutting taxes was all happy and all well and good until the bill came due, and now the bill's due. The first thing you're going to see is the placeholder budget bills filed, and I'll tell you, when the governor gives his recommendation, I think the thoughts of tax cuts and tax credits for this year will not be a serious topic. I think there'll be budget cuts recommended by the governor in a lot of areas. I think the House will probably do more. The Senate will have to balance them out. I don't think you're going to see a lot of talk about tax cuts when the budget's upside down, but we'll see.
Scott, there's another issue
that's been coming for some time.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you about why suddenly it's gone totally silent regarding the stadium issue and, some state help for that in terms of, the funding with taxes and sales taxes around there where they go. And bundled in that legislation was the whole deal about some counties could adjust their property tax and others couldn't. It seemed very selective. What's happened? It's like suddenly the connections are gone. I mean, all of a sudden the lights are out on that issue. What's happening?
Well, there's going to be a court fight over whether you can just cherry pick a few counties out. I think there's a very legitimate shot that could be tossed by the courts.
Yeah.
That wasn't gonna save your property tax issue anyway. It might have helped a little bit, but that's the rock your church is built on. You're going to end up disappointed on the stadiums. And these teams are business people, right? They went and got an offer from Missouri, so they're going back and try to get a better offer from Kansas. And you know what they'll do after that? They'll bring it back to Missouri and say, "You want to match this offer we got from Kansas?" Look, they're business people. But yes, it's a wonderful sport. The Chiefs and the Royals, I suppose, play if somebody watches. But these are businesses, and they're out to get all the money they can from you for your tickets. They want to sell you all the beer they can, the nachos, and they want to get all the tax dollars they can. So I mean, they're simply right now negotiating up. I will tell you this: everything was in hold until Frank White's recall. Frank White hated the Royals and was going to make this life very hard on the Royals. Now he's gone, and Phil Lavoda, a guy that worked in Jeff City for a while, is new interim county executive. Everybody was waiting for Frank to be gone for the real negotiation to start. So I do think you had that issue. The real local Kansas City or Jackson County, Kansas City part will be up now, and we'll see what happens. I'm a little optimistic that the Chiefs stay, but I think the Royals are just looking for the better deal.
Yeah. Well, you're right. They're playing Peter against Paul, no doubt about it. And I just thought it's interesting. Well, we're going to be talking with Cindy O'Loughlin, Senator O'Loughlin at 8:08, and ask her a little bit about that Josh Hawley dust up and where she thinks the whole stadium controversy may be going. Scott, thanks for being with us.
Her, I said she'd win an arm wrestling match, and Jennifer took the other guy.
Oh, okay. I'll ask her about that. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right.
Bye.
When we come back, I know you've been following Mayor Barbara Buffalo, Heather, and have a couple thoughts about that. I love the way she's spinning the pedestrian statute or ordinance that they're talking about. We'll be back on Wake Up Missouri in just a minute. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up.
Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri. Heather Overstreet in for Stephanie Bell. I'm Randy Tobler along with John Marsh and Drake Whitman. And we're trying to figure out how we can provide more pedestrian access to medians. That's something that Heather and I have been working on here during the break. Right, Heather?
Yeah.
Not. So tell us about what Mayor Buffalo's up to.
Well, I wish I could say I knew. It's kind of hard to figure out exactly what's going on, but
she's trying to. Well, here's a little bit. She's putting a spin on this this ordinance that they're talking about, and I thought it was interesting.
Hey, Columbia. At our last City Council meeting, we introduced a proposed pedestrian safety ordinance. This measure focuses on keeping everyone, drivers, cyclists, and pedestrians, safe on our busiest roads. Over the last 10 years, pedestrian and bicycle fatalities in Missouri have increased by 77%, while other traffic fatalities rose by 40%. That's a trend we can't ignore. Here's what the proposed rule does in Columbia. It limits people from standing or crossing in the middle of high-speed, high-traffic roads or on narrow medians, places where if a crash were to happen, the chances of it being fatal are high. I acknowledge that the original request for an ordinance was probably intended to outlaw a certain activity.
What would that activity be? Firemen selling pretzels on, Fireman Recognition Day?
right.
Remember the Fireman Boot Day that some communities have for,
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I don't think it. Why can't she just come out and say it?
I think she's just trying to please everybody. She's trying to please both sides of the aisle. And even in the beginning of the video, she's like, this is for everyone. And it's no secret that Columbia is dealing with a violence epidemic and a homelessness epidemic as well. And this solution, great, we're taking care of medians, but is that actually tackling the issue that the citizens are upset with?
Why don't we just widen the median to make it more hospitable?
Yeah, he's diabolical.
Well, speaking of, so what do you think is the solution? What's the linchpin solution to the homelessness problem?
Well,
and the median panhandling problem.
Right. Well, the panhandling issue, to my knowledge, the Supreme Court deemed panhandling as your freedom of speech. So I don't know that there's much we can do about that specifically at the moment. I do like the median ordinance. I want to give credit where credit is due. I do like that. Mm-hmm. I do have other questions, like, let's say I do get in an accident and I'm on the median because I'm in an accident, mm-hmm. or let's say there's like a lost puppy or something. Am I going to get in trouble? The rule applies to everybody. So I have that question. Yeah, but
so you'd like a puppy exemption,
right? You might have to add that in there.
Being the proprietor of a dog business, yeah.
Right, but my other solution is they have all these, they have police officers, they have a police chief, they have a violence prevention officer, which may as well also be a police officer. But anyway, they just need to let police. You know what I mean? Because the police chief said we're not policing housing status, we're policing behavior, and it's like actually you're doing neither.
Yeah. So are you going to be holding a fundraiser for the Opportunity Center? Are you in support of the homeless hotel that they're building here?
Oh my gosh.
No?
No.
Okay.
Probably not.
We'll take that as an unqualified no from Heather.
Yeah.
573-874-9390. Do you like the median ordinance? Back with more Wake Up in 5.
Once again, Chapel Roan.
All right, so this is I guess, fairly prominent singer, country western pop, named Chapel Roan. Welcome back into Wake Up Missouri. That was a little bit of Chapel on Saturday Night Live's 50th. I'm Randy Tobler. Heather Overstreet in for Stephanie Bell. John Marsh and Drake Whitman, of course, on Wake Up Missouri, 573-874-9390 if you want to weigh in on what we are talking about. By the way, Cindy O'Loughlin, the President Pro Tem of the Senate, Cindy O'Loughlin joins us at 8:08. You want to miss that because there's something going on. You don't want to miss it. There's something going on between her and Hawley. We don't know if it's still going on, but it started a couple weeks ago, and we're going to see what she and Josh Hawley are going to have a summit, or maybe they'll meet in Reykjavik. I don't know. Have a big summit, but over energy prices and the people paying for data centers. Anyway, so Chapel Roan, Heather, is from Willard.
Yeah, Willard, Missouri.
And controversial.
For people like us, yes.
How do you define people like us?
Sane.
Okay, for sane people, she's controversial. Or maybe she just gets it wrong. Yeah. For people like us. Okay.
You might quiz her on her pronouns.
Yeah, so we were talking we were talking about pronouns earlier. Apparently, the Center Project, what I hadn't heard of, based in Columbia, will receive funding from pop star Chapel Roan's The Midwest Princess Project, focusing on supporting the LGBTQ plus community. So, well, I'd never heard of the Center Project. What do you know?
Yeah, I don't know too much about it either. The thing that I do know that bothers me about the Center Project specifically is that they have programs for children in it. Mm-hmm. And the LGBT is obviously about, sex. So you're putting children in that. So to me, it's something that rubs me the wrong way. I don't wish it to be in Missouri, but here we are.
Well, look, I mean, there was great controversy a couple of years ago when on an honor student recognition banquet or event, the Columbia Public Schools had an event where they had as entertainment. I mean, these kids had all done some kind of meritorious project that they had done, and then they are invited to come to an event, and lo and behold, it was basically a drag queen show.
Right.
And it met with a lot of resistance publicly, right?
Good.
And I think as we all realize, whether it's look, if my kindergarten or fifth graders, male or female teacher came in and started talking about their escapades over the weekend and how they were involved in a threesome, and I was great, I don't want to hear that, right? I don't want them to be. I just don't want to be. They shouldn't be talking about that.
Yeah, there's a time and a place.
Right, and I think so. That's not. But these kids are being told by counselors in some case, by teachers, and in some communities, and in some districts, it's really hush hush. You don't have to. We're not going to talk to the parents, but we're going to support your gender dysphoria. And you want to get some mutilating surgery or some drugs? Yeah, we want to support that.
Yep.
And then the kid is sort of indoctrinated that that's the way they need to go instead of getting mental health.
Right. Yeah, it's grooming is what it is for the children.
Yeah, it absolutely is. And I just wanted to give you guys a little information. So Chapel Roan is donating to the Center Project, which has a bunch of other different individual nonprofits inside of it. It's really weird and convoluted, but they're also Chapel Roan is donating towards Springfield's GLO Center. Mm-hmm. So this is affecting all of our listeners.
Yeah, I mean it's all across our vast audience. And here's the other thing. I don't know if down in Greene County they're getting the same deal, but let us know, Springfield, if you know much about this. The GLO, is that what you called it? The GLO
Center?
Yeah,
GLO Center.
Okay. And I read that according to KOMU 8 in Columbia, Constantine Miseo, who is on the board there, a board member at the Center Project, said we're a grassroots nonprofit. We do have funding from Boone County Children's Services Fund to support our youth programs. So that's been a huge. What are those youth programs? What if you're a Boone County resident? Where do those children's services funds come from? I would assume they come from property taxes, real and personal property taxes. Do you want your personal property taxes and other funding going from a children? Shouldn't children's services be about, vaccinations and health and, making sure you're getting your ringworm treated?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely not the lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer plus. Crazy.
John, what do you know about? Is there a center like this in Cole County? Is there any that you know of?
Not to my knowledge, but I don't exactly run in those circles. But
you don't. What are your pronouns?
The people want to know.
573-874.
None of the above, right?
573-874-9390. Again, if a nonprofit wants to, I guess, go that way, that's fine. And if Chapel Roan wants to support it, I guess we have free speech. But I'm concerned about public funding for that through the Children's Fund. I'd want to know what are they teaching children? What are they? And throughout that whole thing, I think it's funny. I wish the reporter from KOMU would have asked Constantine Maceo. It's interesting. This center project allegedly is trying to keep providing essential services for the LGBTQ. What essential services do they not get?
Yeah, exactly.
What about an LGBTQ plus is essential that isn't essential for someone else? You have a cold, you have a flu, you have an appendix problem, you have an inflamed appendix. We'll take that out. Do you need special appendectomy?
Yeah.
I mean, what is it that's special about that community that is essential, that's different than anyone else in terms of essential?
Yes.
Now, I don't think it's the public's duty to provide non-essential things that they may want because of their lifestyle, right? But what is essential, and where is the public duty to provide anything more than needs, not wants? If you're of the LGBTQ plus community, please, I'd like to have a conversation with you. I'm serious about this. I have treated and will treat LGBTQ folks. I don't have a problem with that. You need medical treatment? I'll give you medical treatment. Not a problem. But I have a problem with you indoctrinating kids that are very impressionable into your lifestyle. Just like, again, I would have someone who's a porn star indoctrinating them into a heterosexual porn star reality, right? I mean,
Yeah. Not my cup of tea, to say the least. I really am not a fan of the children aspect of it. And I'm assuming when they say essential, I mean, my assumption is they're talking about affirming, which is all just emotional instability. Not everybody has to like you, newsflash.
Yeah.
So that's my
Constantine Maceo said, we're a grassroots nonprofit, just more recently working a grant, supporting youth programs. He said, he reported, now this is, he said to the reporter that with the unrest in the country toward the LGBTQ plus community, unrest in the, maybe I've missed it. I haven't seen violence against people. Have we missed that reporting, John? Have non-LGBTQ plus people been violent or had, what do they mean by unrest? Drake's in here giving us the thinking man emoji. He's got his finger over his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, most of the LGBTQ, the gay pride fest that we had in Columbia, the one they have in Ashland, they go off pretty much without a hitch, and there's no reporting of violence. I mean, you can imagine maybe somebody shouting at them from time to time, but all in all, they seem like they're pretty well received.
Yeah, I love the adverbs and the adjectives they use. We've experienced an increase in demand of our resources for the Center Project, says this Maceo, since it's a scary time for LGBTQ plus people in our country. Why is it scary?
Yeah, because this community in general, I'm generalizing, this community thinks that if you disagree with them, you think that they shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So
sort of like Gaza versus Israel, right? Wipe them. Yeah. We don't want you to be around.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. I mean, you live in the United States of America. We all have rights here as citizens. There's no reason for you to be behaving the way that you are. And, the thing that I don't like about this community usually is I want to get one thing straight. There's a difference between just being gay and then being a part of this community. This community, specifically the LGBTQIA+, I think they just have a real issue with agreeing to disagree, and they don't want discourse. It's like you're either for them or you're against them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just disagree.
Yeah, and right. And I look, until very recently, and still with certain additional provisions and symptoms, this is considered, these lifestyles can be considered a mental illness, according to the mental health professionals. Well, I'm trying to be as objective as I can, right? In terms of the DSM-5, the manual for psychiatric care. And I mean, you gotta think about it. If you're someone that is if you're a guy and you're teaching children and you're wearing a dress, you want to go into the girls' bathroom or the ladies' teacher's bathroom, there's something fundamentally, there's something fundamental. Can we all agree there's something fundamentally off about that?
Right.
And that's okay, but it's not, you're not a bad person because of that.
Yeah.
You're a confused person. There's something, you need to be maybe counseled.
Yeah. Yeah. And open to discourse. Like, can you disagree with somebody and have a conversation around that? That's my biggest thing too.
Well, let's ask John about his discourse when he comes back with his segment. What's up?
Blame it on her $2,500 high heels.
We'll see what John has to say when we come back on Wake Up Missouri and Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin at 8:08. Listening to Wake Up Missouri on the Zimmer Radio Network.
It's Wake Up
No, except for this.
Trial began last week in Houston for 34-year-old Christina Chambers, who's accused of manslaughter. 2023, 33-year-old Joseph McMullen was leaving a donut shop when he was hit and killed by Chambers' Porsche 911. Police said Chambers was 4 times over the legal limit for alcohol and had baggies of cocaine in her car and purse. They say she was going about 70 miles an hour when she hit McMullen, who was thrown 30 feet and died at the scene. Her attorney, however, has posited that it was Chambers' Christian Louboutin shoes that caused the accident, claiming the heel got stuck on the car's gas pedal. She is facing 20 years in prison if convicted. Blame it on the shoes.
Now, John, I have to commend you. What would you please pronounce that, the brand of those high heels again?
Oui, Christian Louboutin.
Oh man, Jean Le Marsh, listen to you.
That's what a college minor in French will get you.
He's got John has that mustache, you know.
Yeah.
I bet in the day John was like the original Pepe Le Pew.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Come with me to the Casbah.
Yes, my little chickadee.
There we go. So blame it on the shoes is the moral of that one.
I guess how high were the heels on those? 5 inches? What'd you say?
Didn't say.
But can you imagine? I can imagine
you can
that.
Imagine
that. Heather, could that get you messed up in the pedal mechanism? Maybe.
I don't know. Maybe
get locked in full throttle. You know.
Sometimes it's okay to admit that women can't drive. No.
Plus, being 4 times over the legal limit and coked out.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah, that silly thing. Yeah.
But blame it on the shoes.
Blame it on the shoes. Yeah. Attorneys are good at that, aren't they? Yeah. It's like, well, it wasn't my client's fault. It was this. It was
That's
that.
Right. With our resident attorney not in the house, sure, why not?
Yeah, why not? Now you run a business, and it's a business where you have employees, right? At your Top
Yes.
Dog USA.
Yes.
So you have to carry, I guess, insurance in case they get injured, or how does that work? You probably have some liability there, no?
Yeah, I have all sorts of stuff. I have general liability because I offer so many different services, and I have workman's comp.
Yeah.
So yeah.
As a small business woman, what are your thoughts about the environment for success and growth in small business with regard to supply chains, labor markets, the whole enchilada?
Yeah, I think owning a small business, well, any business, but I'm speaking from my experience. Owning a small business is very challenging. I think a lot of people just assume that because I own a business, I can take off time whenever I want, or I don't work that much. But there's so many things you have to do behind the scenes. I mean, insurance, taxes. Scott talking about payroll and the Missouri IP. The government has a way of hindering operations, as I call it. I've had Top Dog.
Is that to say obstructing the free market?
Right.
What,
yeah.
by hindering operations? Is that what you mean?
I would say that, and also too, just like the Missouri IP is such a beautiful example of government interference that I have trouble wrapping my brain around why they would even do that in the first place. But yeah, it's very challenging.
So you want to see initiative petition reform?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's stressful. I've heard of and know other businesses where this Missouri IP is going to put them out of business.
Yeah. You're talking about Prop A? Yeah.
Yeah.
About Prop A, where basically it was passed, but the legislature overrode it. That would have required, for every 30 hours of work, an hour of sick time, and then minimum wage stuff as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then
for small business, it can kill you.
Right. And now they came back and they brought it on to my knowledge, like a constitutional level, and it's called Missouri IP 2026-047. If you look that up, I mean, if you read through that, it's just like, wow.
Well, let's go a little further on that, though.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong, is there, I would think you would be happy with, and maybe you do for your employees, make it a more hospitable environment than other people in your business, because but that's your choice, right? You just don't want the government to tell you.
Yeah. Well, the problem is I love to give raises. Yeah. My staff is so good. Yeah. I truly love them. They're great. The problem is when you go from 1230 to 1375
Right.
in 1 year, that's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a big deal.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what? I mean, 80% of a business expense is labor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your workers, yeah. They love you too.
I hope so.
573-874-9390 if you work for Heather. She's in for Stephanie. I'm Randy. There's John and Drake, of course. We talked to Senator Cindy O'Loughlin in 8 minutes. Stay tuned. busy weekend, an unfortunate Mizzou loss. Next time, I hope Coach Drinkwitz calls me before he calls that go for the touchdown play on 4th and goal. If he would have asked John Marsh or me, we'd have said, take the points. Just kidding. It was a tough loss, but hopefully they'll do better against the Aggies after a week off. I'm Randy Tobler, along with Heather Overstreet, who's in for Stephanie Bell, John Marsh, and Drake Whitman. And joining us is Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin. Hope your weekend was great, Cindy. Were you maybe in a deer stand doing a little archery, or no?
No, I am not a deer hunter. No.
Well, how about the guys? How about your husband or your sons? They're hunters? No? We have hunters in the O'Loughlin family?
Not really. Well, one of them is, but no, for the most part, no.
Oh, it's a great time in Missouri, isn't it?
The grossest thing you'll see is drive by somebody's yard and there's a dead deer hanging out on the tree.
Yeah. Is that to take it that you don't enjoy a beautiful, well done, nicely braised deer tenderloin cooked just the right way?
No. No.
It is for many Missourians, it's a great time of year with deer camps going on all across. And I know a lot of folks in your in your district certainly are big deer hunters. Well, we wanted to get to something a little more meaty, and that is this what's called a public spat between you and Senator Josh Hawley. And I guess I think we need to define what my understanding of what happened is. Senator Hawley went after you because of your alleged support of rate hikes in behalf of data centers, and the citizens are going to be paying for all these AI data centers, and you wrote him a letter that said, well, wait a minute, you don't understand the entire context, right? So let's start with that. Is that a fair appraisal of what's going on or how this got started?
Well, kind of. I mean, frankly, Senator Hawley and I probably have pretty much the same opinion on most things. Of course, he's featured prominently on every YouTube video, and he's everywhere. Mm-hmm. And I am not, and so I don't watch everything that he does or says. But basically, his opinion was that the data centers are the main driver of cost increase for utility rates, and I simply said, we understand that basically that data centers do require a lot of power, and that we address that in Senate Bill 4 by putting, some pretty strict guidelines into what rate increases utilities could get through the PSC, and that the costs for providing all of that power would be placed on them and not on the regular customers. And so, I think that kind of set him off, apparently. And I was a little bit surprised by it, but, that's what happened.
Now, he went after Ameren, who I guess, are they going after a 15% rate hike? And he'd written a letter to the CEO of Ameren. And I think that what I understand, because we've talked about this Senate Bill 4, that was basically, while it seems like some immediate pain, to me, it was sort of like a little castor oil to prevent, disease up the road, right? There may be some rate hikes to fund future projects, but in the end, net, it will save taxpayers and ratepayers more. Is that sort of the logic?
Well, sort of. It's very complicated, and I'm not going to claim to be an expert on the topic. But we do understand that the data centers require massive amounts of power, and we do understand that in order to provide that power, there's going to have to be a lot of infrastructure built. But the thing that I would like to point out here, and I think I've done it on your show before, is that for the last several years at the federal government level, which, this would be something that Senator Hawley could help with, the EPA and different government agencies have basically shut down our reliable power generation. So we've shut down coal plants, and there's not really been much building going on other than wind and solar, which has an enormous cost paid for by the taxpayer and does not provide reliable generation. So taxpayers are now paying for that in addition to trying to keep other systems up and running, because when the sun doesn't shine, something has to be providing power. So to me, that is where the real cost hikes have come in, and now they are coming at warp speed because the data centers are building across the country. They are requiring massive amounts of energy. And so, you have a twofold issue here where we shut off our power generation, didn't really have a lot of new load being requested by either factories or the data centers or whatever. And now, all of a sudden, you have this explosion in generation need. And our capacity is at an all-time low. And it's at an all-time low because of the federal government. So is this going to be, painful? Yes. And are costs rising? Yes. Everyone in the country is building a gas plant. In the last 12 months, the costs to do that have increased 40%. So we're really in it's a hard time, and we in the Senate and the House did what we felt we could do to shield people from those costs.
When it comes to the impediment of building nuclear plants, because I think more and more there seems to be momentum, especially in light of new modular, smaller, and safer nuclear reactor technology. There seems to be a growing public sentiment that, hey, this does make sense. I mean, France is doing a great job with that, and there's great technology there. Is this largely something that you and the General Assembly can ungum, or is that largely a federal impediment? Where, if let's say Ameren came and knocked on your door and said, "Hey, Senator O'Loughlin, we really want to just fast track a nuclear plant because that's the cheapest, most affordable, most abundant way to get safe power for all of our future needs." What would you say?
I'd say, great, let's get started on it. I mean, they in their plan, they have included expanding the Callaway plant. And my understanding is that Evergy is now including it. The only reason they would not have included it in the past is, once again, the federal government. Because the regulations that are imposed require multiple years of fighting battles just to get to the point where you have a permit to try to start to build the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we have shot ourselves in the foot, so to speak, and all in the name of safety. I'm not for unsafe conditions, but, we've cut off our power, and the nuclear plant really is the long-term solution, and it's going to require two things. It's going to require a reduction in regulation, and it's going to require the federal government to invest in it. And if we hadn't thrown all this money away on wind and solar, we could have had a good start.
Senator, closer to home, the budget battle, the budget debate in line with the governor's, what was it, $300 million and line item of vetoes. What is budget debate going to look like when you all return in January?
Well, so we have been looking at the budget. We understand that it's on a downhill trajectory. Everyone knew that was coming. And one of the things that I have wanted to see, but haven't had a lot of authority to, dictate how everything goes, unfortunately. And one of the things I'd like to see is the departments give us their top priorities, their solutions for how to achieve those priorities, and some measurement as to whether the money that is being spent is moving us anywhere near to those priorities. I do feel that there's a way to restrict the spending and do it more sensibly. I think that the governor, of course, understands that too. I mean, he's a business person. So I think that, there'll be a lot more scrutiny and a lot more, what are we getting for the money that we're spending type conversation.
Yeah. You're so right about that, and I think that that's always the question, especially in these days when people are really having to tighten their own purse strings, right? And they want to make sure that there's value when those monies are being spent. I've got to ask you about your feelings about this IP reform thing. The legislature, basically, I know Heather's been really working on that. She's in for Stephanie today, and quite worked up as a small businesswoman about, if that were to be overturned, and go back to the rules of an hour of sick leave for every 30 hours and all the provisions of Prop A, that'd be disastrous for small business owners. Where do you think that's going to go?
Well, of course, we passed the reform. I'm all in for the reform. I think that it actually protects the people of Missouri. I know that there are some special interests who are opposed to it. They want to make it as easy as possible to, modify our Constitution, which has happened like over 100 times. I think if we're going to have a Constitution for Missouri, it ought to be a fairly high bar to change it. Yeah. And the reality is that it is special interests that have come in from both coasts, spent millions of dollars, and gotten things into our Constitution that shouldn't be there. And this latest effort, the Prop A thing, is a great example where, they sort of boiled it down to, shouldn't everybody be able to have sick leave? Well, if you're not really thinking or you haven't run a business, you might think, well, yeah. You ought to be able to do that. But there's a whole lot more to it than that, and it would bankrupt our small businesses.
Yep.
So we'll be pushing hard to pass the reform that we got out of the legislature, and hopefully we're successful.
In the last 30 seconds, I want to offer that I will pop for a meeting and a lunch or a dinner. You name the place between you and Josh Hawley, because you invited a conversation. I don't think he's taken you up on it.
Well, like I just said a minute ago, I'm like a draft horse and he's a racehorse.
Oh, I don't know. I think
so I'm a little slower.
Oh, I don't think so. I think that's some false humility there, Senator Cindy O'Loughlin. Thanks for being with us. Appreciate you talking with us.
You're welcome.
All right, take
Bye-bye.
care. Bye-bye.
I see the senator more as a barrel racing horse.
Yeah. I got a feeling that I might know who wins that rhetorical competition. When we come back, we'll do the morning report. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up
I never called for the legalization of prostitution. I'm not calling for that today either.
Let's go to the videotape.
While this bill does not decriminalize sex work, I would like to register my support for such legislation, my eagerness for that debate, and for my fundamental belief that sex work is work.
You can't hide your lying eyes.
Well, there's another lie with Kami Mamdani. I mean, the guy clearly took one position a short while ago and now has 180 reversed it, walked it back.
Yeah. I mean, you know what they say, if you record it, it's not prostitution.
Thank you, Hunter Biden.
That's Heather Overstreet. In for Stephanie Bell, Drake Whitman, and John Marsh. Of course, now, John, there are people in the libertarian sphere that say, hey, prostitution ought to be legal. If you want to do that, fine. What's wrong with it? You know,
it is some places. Some places in Colorado have legal prostitution.
Vegas.
Yeah, I'd have to be inclined to disagree just because I'm a woman, and that's damaging to my people, my community, as they call them, the minorities,
Your
standing
people.
up for them. Yeah.
You're not going to play that minority card on me now, are you?
No, okay, no, I take it back, Randy. I do. No.
Do you know that more women graduate from undergrad schools now, and more women are enrolled and graduate from graduate programs now?
Yeah.
So I think it's sort of like the black-white thing.
Right.
We're over that, right, in America?
I hope so.
We should be over the woman-man thing now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you agree?
I mean, yeah.
You don't have to agree if you know.
Yeah. I mean, I think we are. I mean, you know, I remember when I was serving on city council in Boonville, I was the only female, and I was the youngest by quite a bit. Those were the best coworkers I've ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, they really just took me under their wing, and yeah, they were great.
I mean, you know, when I ran a hospital, I had almost all of my leadership team was women. That's fine, and they probably outworked me like crazy.
Yeah.
It was great. You know what I found in leadership, being at the CEO level? This men are from Mars and women are from Venus thing is really true. We have different skill sets, and I don't know whether it's a nurture or a nature thing. Mm-hmm. I happen to think God gave us different general skill sets, and not that there isn't some cross match there, right? I mean, you know, men share some skills in leadership that women have in other words, but when it came to sort of that whole multitasking thing, you know, I'm sorry, women just run circles around men and being able to. In general, just being able to multitask, get a bunch of things done, do them well, and, you know, like at our practice, my daughter and wife and other daughter, both daughters, basically, like, I have a vision, and I know I'm standing at point A, and I know where I would know where point B is, or C. I can't quite figure out how to get to A to B and B to C. You know, I mean, I think I have a general idea, but the actual pragmatic getting it done, the ladies just run circles around me.
Yeah, I think men and women have different strengths, and I think if you acknowledge that, you're going to be the best version of yourself. Yeah. So
what was the best experience in city council and the not so best experience? Just in general terms. I mean,
yeah.
What did you find frustrating and what was fulfilling?
Right. I think fulfilling was just getting people aligned on a cause. I think that was very fun. The other thing too that I really liked about city council specifically was municipalities. In Missouri, there's a thing called MML, Missouri Municipal League, and municipalities, they pay for their elected officials to go, and you get to pick all these classes that you go to. So, for example, I picked social media and gun laws, and I went to a couple of these different conferences, and it was so cool to learn all those different things, and I learned so much under city council, so much. It was great. I would say the more challenging aspects of it was, you know, the public. People didn't like that I made videos. I didn't even make political videos back then, but just videos in general. I mean, they just always have something to complain about. So sometimes I think the work can get really negative. I think it definitely takes a certain personality to be a politician. But the bottom line is a politician is just a leader. And I think if you have leadership qualities and you have good morals, you'll make a great politician. Oh,
now there you just opened up a great question thread for me. Because I maintain that current politicians in general, I'm not in general, I would take Cindy O'Loughlin as an exception. There are others, though, in Missouri who I think are unfortunately not the exception. I think we used to have political elected officials who were truly leaders in the sense of, hey, my constituency, I know this is what you want, but think this through. Let me explain to you why I think this may be the best thing for you in the long run, and let me explain why with facts and arguments and discussion, right? I think it started with Bill Clinton, at least in my political memory, with the sort of the finger in the wind politician. What do you guys want? Oh, okay. This is where populist movements like AOC and Mamdani get in trouble. Because, of course, there are a large number of people who say, I want you to tax the rich and redistribute it and give it to me. And if you're a leader, you should say, wait a minute, how's that working out for you in Venezuela, in the Soviet Union, in one after another socialist country? I don't think enough politicians have the courage to do that anymore. They're like, yeah, I'll borrow more money, I'll print more money, whatever. So where is that leadership lacking in terms of educational leadership?
Right. Well, I think the short answer to that is, as a leader, you need to have a backbone. And then the next question is, well, how do you have a backbone? And I think it's really important that the foundation from which you preach your morals on is solid. Because you know what they say, if you build a house on sand, what's going to happen? So you have these people, we say morals, you don't have morals. Well, what does that even mean? Well, you have right and wrong. And how do you understand what that is? And for me, I'm a Christian. You know, that's a big deal. Saying that you're a Christian is a big deal. It's not a religion, it's a relationship. I have a relationship with Jesus, and a relationship is something that requires work every day. And so I think a lot of people were drifting away from that Christian mindset, which, keep in mind, our country is founded on Christian values. And I think we're just slowly drifting away from that. And I think a lot of us saw it, especially after the Charlie Kirk incident. But yeah, my short answer is, to be a good leader, you need to know what you're talking about, why, and then you need to be strong enough to back it up.
So what do you say to people? We all know them. We have them in our close, sphere of influence, who are not Christians, who say, well, why are you going to impose your Christianity on me? This is a free country, and I'm a moral person. I don't rob. I don't steal. I give to charity. I'm a good person. I don't need your Christian ideals. What are you going to bring that to bear on me?
Well, I do not expect somebody that is not a Christian to follow Christian values. However, there is a standard to things. That's why we have legislation. The whole idea of legislation is to uphold a standard, and it is for your behavior. So there is that aspect of it. But also, if you're such a good leader and you're not a Christian and you have a problem with me, quote unquote, imposing my Christian beliefs on you, well, if that bothers you, I'm sorry, but do you really have a backbone?
Wow. I agree with you, though, in terms of the founding of the country. There were deists, there were Christians, there were non-Christians, but they employed the tenets of the Judeo-Christian model, right? Which was, it's not about me, it's about thee. And I think we've lost some of that.
Yeah.
You can have rugged individualism, but that doesn't mean you tread on other people, the old don't tread on me theme, right? Yeah. And I think that's lost on a lot of people that, you may not be a Christian, but you don't have to go back too far in your generational history to find out there was someone there that was worshiping the good book, or, that was reading the good book.
Right, yeah. I mean, the 10 Commandments, don't murder, don't steal. that's where that comes from.
Heather, who are you to say that there's right and wrong and don't murder? And if I wanted, stealing is just reparations, don't you know? It's not. That's just making up for past wrongs, and I have every right to break into your store and take, because white people abused black people 200 years ago, 150 years ago, and therefore I have a right to take from you if you're a white store owner. That was the BLM mantra,
right?
As they broke into stores.
Yeah. Well, the first thing is, it's not Heather saying it; it's God's word. That's the first thing. The second thing is, the Bible is also anti-slavery, so maybe they need to pick that up and figure it out. My dad always said the truth is your responsibility to seek, and I find that to be true to this day. And again, circling back, talking about leadership, if a good leader seeks the truth and a good leader is founded in the truth, and that means too admitting when you might be wrong, like I might have to admit sometimes that I'm wrong.
Yeah, we don't do that on this show.
Oh, okay. My bad.
I'm just fascinated.
We don't do that when Stephanie's not
here. No. So So there's this woman I'm just captivated by this woman in St. Louis who posted this thing on X about people losing their SNAP benefits. And she apparently had been homeless at one point, has 4 children, really struggling. She's talking about taking rideshare because her car was repossessed. But she's scolding people who are whining about losing their SNAP benefits. And this is a little bit more of what she said about, again, she's in urban St. Louis, right? And this is more of what she said basically about, hey, quit your whining.
God bless you with feet. Walk. Get your fat ass up and go out and walk. Then your hip won't be hurting. You won't be so fucking fat.
Did you get it? Good. Thank you. I played the wrong one. Yeah. So,
I want to put a little bit of context onto that. He asked me to edit 5 minutes of audio and played the wrong one.
Here, wait, I'm going to play that right.
But do we really need this car? You going to say, yeah,
My
because I
bad.
need to get around. No. You have a bus, a train system. You have Lyft. You have Uber. In St. Louis, you have Via, which is...
Okay, so we're good there. And I think the woman really makes some good points. And she's scolding people and, saying, hey, pick yourself up by your bootstraps. All right, when we come back, we'll wrap it up and we will come up with some leftovers on our plate. Stay tuned.
It's Wake Up
Hope that you'll stay tuned for the great Gary Nolan coming up right after us. And later on, Eagle Eye Drive at 5 with Mike Murphy. Great new show here on the Eagle for those of you in the Columbia and mid-Missouri area on 93.9 The Eagle. Thank you all for being in touch and in tune with us on our Wake Up Missouri YouTube channel. Don't want to miss that. You can see all of... Drake, how come you're not on this feed here? People would like to see the young Drake on the video feed. Yeah?
No, they wouldn't.
No, yeah, of course they would.
No, well, I'm worried that too many women listeners and watchers will start
they'd be distracted by your Adonis-ness.
Yeah, it just becomes overwhelming.
Yeah,
so
I know. People
I'm doing you guys a favor.
It's sort of like an Elvis moment. They just pass out when they see you. Yeah, I know. We wouldn't want that to happen. We might have a liability.
Legal advise Drake otherwise.
Yeah.
Just to avoid the lawsuits. People running off in traffic.
Heather Overstreet in for Stephanie Bell. I'm Randy Tobler along with John Marsh, Drake Whitman. It's the time when, there's stuff that we just didn't get to so far in the show. We've talked about the shutdown, talked about Trump being in Asia, going to meet with Xi, dancing in Malaysia yesterday, catching a lot of heat from the left because they're just gone apoplectic. They don't know. They can't really criticize his policies anymore. So that's all about just silliness.
They don't like joy, I guess.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They can't stand it.
Yeah.
Their grievance politics isn't working out so well.
Yeah. Yeah.
At all. John, what do you have?
We have a gentleman who wants to go from the state capitol to the county courthouse. Sitting Senator Mike Bernsketter says he will run for Cole County presiding commissioner after he leaves office because of term limits. He also spent time in the Missouri House.
Wow.
So from the Capitol to the courthouse.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. And he's been a great leader, senator there. That's going to be, that state Senate race is going to be a hot one in the primary, yeah?
They're coming out of the woodwork for that one.
Yeah, yeah. Drake, what do you got?
All right, so you remember Luigi Mangione. I mean,
of course.
I don't know. He's a goober. That's what he is. He's
Let's
a terrible
ask Heather.
person.
You think all the women seem to think he's really good looking? Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, have you seen that video where he's in handcuffs and a guy in the crowd? It's like it's dead silent, and there's one guy in the crowd, and he goes, "Luigi, it's a me."
Well, it is him. He was with he was in Thailand apparently before he murdered the healthcare CEO, and he was apparently paying prostitutes with Pokemon cards. And if I'm a father and my son, like even without the killing the healthcare CEO, if he goes and pays for lady boys in Thailand with Pokemon cards,
what's that all about?
I'm disowning him. I'm sorry, I just can't do that.
Yeah, he's about as much of a man as Gumby. Yeah, I know. Hey, Darren, going back to our conversation with Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin, we asked her about the dust-up between her and Josh Hawley, and they haven't had that meeting. She said, hey, why don't we have a meeting and let's discuss it, and that hasn't happened. Darren says Josh Hawley doesn't have the cojones to accept the challenge. He's only worried about making himself look good and can't handle someone challenging him. He's really turned populist.
Yeah.
He was marching with the striking workers. Remember, was it auto workers? He was in line with them. And I have nothing against union folks, but I mean it's just a little bit unusual.
Talking about that backbone.
Yeah. And then we've got. You're right. I mean, anyone who was hiring Taiwanese trans sex workers, the guy was clearly psychotic, right?
I mean, most people nowadays are. I mean, LGBTQIA plus alphabet people. I mean, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Speaking of some derangement on the left.
Jews escaping Holocaust, Black Americans fleeing slavery and Jim Crow, Latinos seeking a better life, Native people standing for themselves, Asian Americans coming together in Queens, in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, in Manhattan, in Staten Island, in this country.
Man, I was waiting for her to break into Beastie Boys.
Yeah. Where's the Dean scream? Right at the end of that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, Karen alert.
Yeah, that was AOC at a rally for Mom Kami.
Did you notice how she's listing all these groups of people, and she has, she's got the New York accent.
Yeah, I know.
But for the Latinas, she's got to throw the
Latinas.
accent. Yeah. She's for the people, guys.
That's like Obama, Pakistan.
Yeah. Is she properly representing right there? I just need to know.
Cultural appropriation.
Oh, that's
what it
true.
is. Yeah.
I should cancel her.
I don't know. Do you think she's a threat in 28? They're talking about it.
I mean, she probably thinks she is.
Yeah.
But nah.
Newsom? He all but declared
that's the
over
one
the
I'm
weekend.
worried about.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Newsom runs for 2028,
Bernie thinks she's a threat.
Bernie's confused.
Yeah. Bernie needs to get another bed at the home.
Yeah, he does.
Heather, thanks for being in this morning. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me. I had
keep
fun.
to follow you on X and TikTok and Instagram. Not X. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Yeah.
Just look up my name.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow on Wake Up. Thanks for being here.